Hello guys, good day to all of you. I hope you're doing good, ATM. And today I just want to continue our discussion on C++ programming, specifically on the selection statement and repetition statement. So at this juncture, we're going to start with coding of a sample problem about selection statement using the if else, if else. So there will be three different repetition statements, and I have explained last time the difference of those three, and we will present the examples now. Okay, so this will be our first problem on the selection statement. If, and this is the problem: create a program that will compute for the sum of two numbers, and if the sum is greater than 1, display the sum of the two of the numbers. Okay, so let's open our compiler. So yeah, so default. So please remember that the problem is saying that we're going to have two numbers. So we can now declare two numbers. Say int a b. Then after that, two ways of getting the two numbers: either we initialize or we input from the keyboard. So we will do these two ways of getting the numbers. First, initialization. So one, okay, we initialize the values of a and b. Okay, so let's say the initial value of a and b are 1 and 1. So parehong 1. Then user prompt cout the sum. So since meron na tayong given values, we'll only have to define the sum or find the sum of these two numbers. The sum, okay. First, after initializing, we get the sum. The sum is equal to a plus b. But please take note that we use the variable sum, so we have to declare the variable sum. Next, we get the sum. Yeah, sum is equal to a and b, and this sum is not initialized. So dito tayo papasok ng ating if statement. If, so the problem says that if the sum is greater than 1, display the sum of the two numbers. So given the values of a and b, 1 plus 1 is 2. And apparently that sum is greater than 1. So if it is greater than 1, we're going to display the sum of the two numbers. So what is the condition inside? Well, the syntax or the format of writing this problem is the if, and then the condition will be inside this parenthesis. Okay, so that's it. So if, now we're checking on the value of sum, and please note the operator is equality. We're checking whether the sum is equivalent to, oh, actually it's not equivalent, it should be greater than 1. And then we use what? Cout the sum is, okay, gagamit ulit tayo ng insertion sum, then period. That's the end. So after getting this operation, if it is true, we will do this, and otherwise, if it is false, we'll just end the program, and we're not doing anything. If we run the program, you notice that the sum is 2 because the sum is actually greater than 1. Now, if it is greater than, sabi natin, greater than Greater than 2. If the sum is greater than 2, see out the sum. So, i-run natin yung program. Tingnan natin kung ano mangyari. So, wala siyang output. Kasi nga, hindi true yung sum is greater than 2 because sum of 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So, natin if equal, sum is greater than or equal. Okay, tingnan natin. Nakita nyo na, the sum is 2. Ginawa niya pa rin yung ito. Bakit niya ginawa? Kasi tama, true itong condition dito. If the statement is true, then do this one. If it is not true, then skip the operation or skip statement. Yun lang naman ang sinasabi ng if statement natin. Okay? So, as simple as that. Okay, so that is our if statement. Now, let's proceed with the second way of getting the values of A and B. So, sabi natin kanina, dalawang paraan, either we initialize or we get the value from the keyboard. So, how do we do that? We see in. So, lagyan muna natin ng user prompt. A, value A, semicolon, then see in A, yung ating variable. And then, see out, and then, value B. Okay, okay, kulang ng isang opening. Yan. Value B, semicolon, then see in B. Then compute the sum. Then after computing the sum, we will now test if the sum is greater than or equal to 2. And if it is true, again, uulitin natin, gagawin nyo ngayon itong sum na to. So run. So if you notice, when we run the program, anong gagawin ni computer or anong gagawin ni compiler? Hihingan tayo ng value ng A. Tignan natin, negative 9. O negative 1. Value B, 2. So if we're going to get the sum of these two, negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. So is it greater than or equal to 2? No. Therefore, after entering, nothing will happen because it's not true and therefore, it will not see out the sum of A and B. Okay, palitan natin yung value natin. So, alam natin kasi, if the sum is greater than or equal to 2, so sabihin natin 2, greater than 2 So, pag naglagay pa ako ng any value dito na positive, magiging greater than 2 na to. Or equal to 2. Greater or equal to 2. So, if it is 0, it's equal to 2. True, gagawin nyo to. If it is 1, sige. Pag naglagay tayo ng 1, the sum is 3, magpapakit, the sum is 3. I-display nyo yung sum. Kasi nga, greater than 2 yan. Okay, sige. That is our if statement. And that is using cin from the keyboard to get the value of our A and B sa keyboard. Okay, now let's proceed with if else. So nung una, meron tayong wala tayong gagawin kapag hindi nabit yung unang condition. Pag may else na tayo, else. Okay. So the syntax will be something like this. You give the condition here. Okay, you give the condition here. And if it is true, gagawin nyo to. And then, anything that is not within this range, greater than or equal to 2, will be here. So, hindi na natin kailangan ilagay yung formula. So, ilalagay lang natin dito yung see out na gagawin niya. So, the sum is sige, pagawin natin. Gawin natin happy holiday. Happy holidays. Holidays. And exclamation point. Okay, semicolon. So, if the sum is greater than or equal to 2, the sum is, papakita niya yung sum. Pag hindi siya greater than or equal to 2, paano yun? Either 1, 0, negative, magpapakita yung happy holidays. I-run natin. Value A, 2. Next, negative 2. So, the sum will be 0. And if that is 0, that is not greater than or equal to 2. So if it's not greater than or equal to 2, hindi niya gagawin to. Ang gagawin niya yung else, which is i-display niya yung happy holidays. Pag enter ng keyboard, happy holidays. Di ba? Ulitin natin. Another example, negative 1 and negative 1. So the sum is negative 2. And that's not greater than or equal to 2. So hindi niya ulit gagawin to. Ang gagawin niya ay yung else natin na happy holidays. Happy holidays. So tinetest niya muna yung condition dito. Pag hindi ito true, huwag niyang gagawin to. Ang gagawin niya yung else. Okay? Yun. So yun yung if else natin. So tapos na tayo sa dalawa, if, and then if else, yung pangatlo, if else. Gawin natin tatlo. Okay, so gawin natin tong if the sum is greater than 0. Anong gagawin? The sum is greater than 0. The sum is positive. Positive. Alisin na natin to. And the sum is positive. And then else if, pag may else if ka, meron kang pangalawang condition. If sum is less than 0. So if sum is less than 0, see out the sum is negative because it's less than 0. So else. So nakita nyo na tatlo yung ating condition. If it is greater than 0, if it is less than 0, what do you think might be the third condition? If it is equal to 0. But again, ultimately, hindi na natin kailangang ilagay yung equals 0. Basta pag else na, wala ka nang ilalagay ng condition. Kasi nga, understood na pag hindi ito yan, either ito siguro. Pag hindi ito yan, ito na rin yun. So, see out. The sum is 0. Period. So, yan. Yung ating tatlong condition. So, ibig sabihin, every time we run the program, there will only be one possible output. Either the sum is positive, or the sum is negative, or the sum is 0. So, hindi pwedeng magpakita yung dalawa or yung tatlo at the same time. I-run natin. Kasi, isang beses lang. Ayan, may error po tayo. Sabi niya, expected semicolon before the closing brace. Ano yung closing brace natin? Dito. Wala tayong closing brace dito. Sorry, wala tayong semicolon. Dapat may semicolon yan. Okay? I-run ulit natin. And yan, it's running. Tulad ng sinabi ko, minsan lang kasi tayo mag-a-add dito. And the sum of these two numbers can only be either positive or negative or 0. So if that will be positive 1 plus 1, for example, the sum will be positive. So i-display nyo, the sum is positive. Okay? Ngayon, i-run ulit natin. Gawin naman natin negative. Negative 1, then 0. So, negative 1 plus 0 is still negative 1. So, the sum is negative. Okay, and last, run ulit natin. Negative 2, then positive 2. So, pag sinam natin yung negative 2 tsaka positive 2, the sum will be 0. So, ipapakita niya, hindi na yung positive, hindi yung negative, kundi yung else na. Wala namang ibang sagot to, di ba? If it is not great, tatlo lang naman kasi ang pwedeng maging sign or sagot sa sum natin dito. If it is greater than 0, less than 0, and if it is equal to 0. So yung 2 minus 2 natin, or negative 2 plus positive 2, the sum will be 0. So yun, nagpakita dito, sum is 0. So ngayon, kung gusto nating ulitin para hindi tayo run ng run, doon papasok ngayon yung ating looping statement. And that will be discussed on the next video. For your activity, for this programming, I want you to create a program that will, hold on, I will share the problem. Wait lang. Okay, so this will be your activity for this problem. So let me share the screen. Yeah. So you're going to create a program that will get the average of 3 grades. So if the average is 92 or above, display 100%. If the average is 90 or less than 92, but 90 but less than 92, hindi, wait, if the average is 90 but less than 92, okay, if the average is at least 90 or less than 92 but less than 92, display 75%. If the average is at least 88 or less than 90, display 50%. If the average is at least 85 but less than 88, display 25%. Otherwise, display thank you. So that will be the problem. Ulitin natin. So parang kinocompute natin dito yung halimbawa, bonus siguro. Sabi natin, bonus allowance. If the average is 92 or above, okay, ganun na lang. Gawin natin 92 or above, display 100. If it is above 90, at least 90, tama. 90, 92, hindi, tama. At least 90, but less than 92, display 75%. At least 88, but less than 90, display 50%. If the average is at least 85 or but less than 88, display 25%. Otherwise, display thank you. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng average na na below 85 will receive thank you. For example, ang average niya ay 90. 100 ang magpapakita. Pag 91, 100. Pag 91.5, 100 pa rin. Sorry, pag 92, 92.5, 92.6, 93, 99, 100% ang i-display. Kapag at least 90, sabi natin, ano yung average na at least 90? Na 90 or above but less than, ano na lang, is 90 or above, is 90 or above but less than 92. Yan, bilisan natin to. Ito, ganun lang din. Okay, so is 90 or above but less than 92, 75. Ano yung 90 or above but less than 92? 90, pwede yan. 91, pasok yan. 91.5, 91.99, and less than 92 pa rin yan. So, 75. Tama, okay. 90 or above. 88 or above but less than 90. 85 or above but less than 88. So, ibig sabihin, below 85, that will be thank you. So, that will be your activity for if statement or selection statement. On the next video, again, we'll have our selection or looping repetition statement.